I'll just click the
Okay, yeah. So it, yeah, everybody touch the everyone. Good morning, everyone, and this weekend our teaching topic is about emptiness or selflessness. Yeah. So yesterday we had one first session has gone, and so this morning is second period. So second period we explaining the Diamond Sutra's word, which is here, yeah. And afternoon also there's one session. Again, topic is emptiness, but different text, different way of explanation is a little bit different, something like that. Okay, so that is the thing. So we go direct to the point. Oto sila tadi tanda di doji chebe sik tanda kamara rima meta se kamar te sik di da yako dorangi sanje rangi sungurwa. Sanje rangi sungure tadi pe kone Tony Korean teshe kyaptan chikre de yore sirwa. Mita ta mita patan tadi pe tachita Tony re taran shingi tupe tongbas Tony se chunam kine lutardu di pe kone teshe kyaptan chik teshita yap yore. Manzu gomba nala namgyu sojong ki kapsu ta duntanyi nina sojong sogra dawachina sojong tenyi sogrwa. Ane sojong kapla ta mitapa tenya dan chipa mitapa tenya dan tonyi dan chik ta tine tenya ke chidu di sikde tuyani ane tum sekor tap tu sigre.
Okay, so going to this verse from the Diamond Sutra, and the sutra was the word of the Buddha himself, and uses examples to illustrate emptiness and impermanence, and particularly emptiness in terms of the lack of inherent existence, the ultimate nature of phenomena. And generally in the monastery, twice a month we have a confession of downfalls ceremony, and in that ceremony we recite this verse to remind ourselves of impermanence and emptiness, and at the time of reciting it we also snap the fingers to
और दूसरे तति तति देशे gyaptan de khari kya wasna tenda da shi kone tenda sana singi sana shi kone deshe gyap kredwa tambo de ranshin ki singi che niba di ane roy ba royan ki singi che sumba de nyemi ki singi che shiva de nyebar chuwe singi sta de tunda shi kone tuspa toni kolte kyamukuris.
So when it's explained, it uses four aspects to that these illustrations represent. So the first is defining the nature or meaning, and then that which represents experiential taste, representing the drawbacks, and then representing the wish to be free.
Ta ranshin ki tsingi tela pesum ki kone she gore. Karma che, rabri che, marme sene. Ta tambo pesum duak, pesum de kamar marmes. Pesum ki kone tus she gore. Ta di karma di dire nawa da tongba nitso ki kone nitso ki kone pere.
Yes.
Nawa da tongba nitso sidugala nawa tende rwa. Nawa kasama zu deshe ki toni ke tunda chik ya tende chawi wa tende chunga se chawa tire. Tongba se to tara chik tibe tongba se na me to ta me ba se na me to tirwa.
Yes.
Tus tire tene. Nipa di tongbe chik tibe tongba iba ta pe kone deshe kyabda chikre. Abri pe ki. Ani marme ki nawa tenjong
Yes.
kine luto de yako nawa tenjong yempe pe kone tuspa deshe o tus chine kya wir ta dinge tanta tong tirop sitene re chima dhurwa.
Really? Okay. So the first line, the three examples, I'll explain each of them briefly and then we go into them in detail. So the first, the star, represents both appearance and emptiness. And this that representing both, we discussed yesterday how appearance is a dependent arising, that this is that things arise in dependence is an aspect of emptiness, and then the emptiness, naturally the lack of inherent existence or selflessness. And then the second example, a mirage or a visual aberration, illustrates the empty nature, the emptiness of inherent existence. And the third, the lamp or a butter lamp, illustrates appearance, the dependent arising of things.
What to say that the karma tegi nawada tomba nitso de nawada tomba nitso de kandres chene chakor sana direte nawa de kandres karma tegi nawa tencho de kandres chungor sana nitso de kandres chungor sana chu dujige chu ngobo kandres chinayago 냠샤 남바르 메토베 이시스나다 야마나 파베 냠샤 이시라 낭술 추디게 바 낭술 네로 탈투게 낭술 치당 아니 콘즈베추 가사 콘즈베 시발 하가도 타니베 시바스 콘즈베 시발라 추디게 데라 낭술 치 낭술 민다와 이 거래와 남주 낭술 당보데 남주 다 맞은 나주나 시에게 덴바니나네 돈담 덴바세트 내로 탑도디 나주니 바디 아니 콘좀 덴바세트다 로콘조 발롬 로 주뱅올라 나데지 나데게 네수요다 어디 까마치기 때문에도 스페셜 용거레스.
Okay, so the star represents both emptiness and appearance, and how we apply this is that it represents how things appear, in the sense that all phenomena, whatever thing it is, has the two aspects of the truth. So that when
Yeah, Celia, can you just hold on a minute? You're cutting out a little bit. So I might disconnect the speaker and try and put full volume now that the heater's off. It might work better. So you're going to have to go back to the beginning of the star. Sorry about that.
okay, that's right.
Oops, what have I turned off? Lights. I'll just turn this off. Sorry, Geshe. Right, Celia, I think you should be back online now.
Okay.
Can you talk?
Yep.
Right.
Okay, so the star represents both appearance and emptiness, and how we apply it is to what is appearing, that whatever phenomena, composite phenomena or thing there is, if one says one is in an Arya's meditative equipoise or a non-conceptual exalted wisdom, what appears is the ultimate nature of things. And then the second aspect it represents is the conventional consciousness or the relative consciousness and how things appear to that. So these two types of appearance, and the two appearances relate to the two truths. The first relates to ultimate truth, and the second to conventional truth, where there is the mind, there is a hallucination of the mind.
어두스레 따디 배 당부디 냠샤 넘버 메도 비시스네 메도 파페 냠샤 에실라 낭술 칸데 열스나 낭수디 배 칸데 셔서 페나 니메 고나 만조 남칼라 까마 요르바 지다 카르마타 탄데 배 카르마 텐셔라
Los.
카르마 요르데 아마조 니메 갈라 배 남세고 타 니메 갈라 코 통구멘도와
Los.
통구멘도와 그 대나시다 파페 냠샤 에시기 저놈 게 내로 탈도디 무슨도 또 인도 갈라 가자가 삼게 동바란 신기 마도바 테마도 지게 최 대다대 주제 대다 대교는 난거와 말다 베티 됐습니다. 단단하죠. 셔런이 보나로 수메 다메 티메세 케르미메 메세도
Los.
메스도라 아베냐메 신 올라 되게 수다 다다도 그는 난거와 말때 뒤주베 내로 탈도 라시비베 동바데 곧또 동산지도 스바이
Los.
가자자도 동바데 예데 올때지다 티 카르메티네 나와데 두스 가사 동바데 두스 페자
Los. Okay. So in this example of the star as first representing non-conceptual exalted wisdom, or the Arya's meditative equipoise, the exalted wisdom of the Arya's meditative equipoise, and how it represents this or illustrates this is that in the daytime stars are present in the sky, but due to the sunlight we do not see them. And like this, when the Arya is in meditative equipoise, focused on the ultimate nature of all phenomena, so at that point only the emptiness of inherent existence, the mere absence of the object of refutation, all phenomena do not appear. And so in the Heart Sutra we get there is no form, no sound, no smell, and so forth. So it says, when it's saying, repeating this, there is no, that is no means that to the Arya and meditative equipoise these phenomena are not appearing. It is merely that lack of inherent existence, that clear emptiness that is ascertained.
어두스레 따두스레 딱 데레레데 이나야다 아니 딱 세나 골라 까마디 그 나포이도 골라야 그 까마디 세용도 까마디 도 까마디 맞아 나용도 사용도 어다 되나 시치게 맞아 타니베 셰바 군수베 셰발라 수다 티로 땅아주지 강바다 가다 되게 참아두스 나데 데타 타니베 셰발라 나용고와 타이시바 베시바 타이시바텔로 투바치레 되어와 투바 카데스네 그 나야 되다 해주더니 미팅 받쳐 되어와 Not with the Nayat could not with temper to Passoration iron gorba, temper to down to Tandala Rashiki, Ramon to be of Marbotus. So that did take a light and doing so could be Shepala, the Lord Tibe Shepala, and do Drota Nerva. Drota, and they pay shooting the temper to bar. Rashik Drota, Netinitical, Chatala, Hachang Drota Mountain. A chatang so by Ketinity on the Lesata, then you're a motor shooting or Bahotus.
So that, but then at nighttime, in the darkness of night, the stars appear, and that appearing in the darkness is like illustrates the conventional or the relative mind. That in the same way that the stars appear, form, sound, smell, houses, pillars, and so forth. The relative consciousness perceives these, but our relative consciousness is hallucinated because it perceives them in a way that it does not accord. Their appearances are perceived in a way that doesn't accord with their nature of existence. That they appear to us as truly existent, but their nature is lacking inherent existence. And so therefore, it is said that conventional consciousness is hallucinated or mistaken. And then, in addition, it exaggerates the object. It thinks that the objects, phenomena are truly existent, inherently existent. And then when it strongly exaggerates the object, then attachment and aversion and so forth are generated, karma is accumulated, and all the many problems arise.
To set the Kamachibu Petigni. Now attend you to Tombaran Shimipanika. Sumbe Pecha Tante to say, Ta Nipati Tatiro. Ronyang says in Yitirmarunya. Taraya Alewa Marita Tamputi, now the news of the Kamatini Tibache. That Tombate and a rabrig in a pecha. Rabri within a peck 100 showers in a rabri, so on the chick Sawata, then you want to see or the Sawat in the Chimbota, which is power in a tickler, Rangita de Ma, Sayung, Nawata, which is Charka or Siwarwa, Nawat Chawawa. But they quote them but to pay call. Take it at Rota de Yungorba, Rota Nansuchi, and to Yungorba, Tana Shinki. That they quote Rota and quote them but to but I want to do that now or Matuchi con to that Lako, the Taberti Yomarba. He said, you're not going to mix a budget tone against it, then I got Tonga, the Tonga Mindoa. Chichini, and so Mazukunzu Beshapala, section to get the Nandi, Temper Banana de Co. Now and she, you know, go Tato and Senako, near quite shower. So then, Yema, take me to Hotate Manete, Co. Now and she could make an answering meeting by vacancy radio. What that day, what the Tombang on a page had it.
Yes. Okay. Then the second example is the mirage, or another translation is like a visual aberration, and that represents emptiness. And so the example is if someone has a very strong fever, then there is this appearance as if hairs are dropping, and that kind of appearance seems to be truly existence. And so that there is this appearance that arises through exaggerating that appearance of hairs dropping. And so if that was truly existing as it appeared, then when one searched for it, one would find it, but it is not found. And similarly, a clear-sighted person, a person without false division, would not see those hairs dropping. And in the same way, that to our conventional consciousness, phenomena appear to us as truly existent, but on searching for them, they are not found, and therefore their way of appearance is not in accordance with their way of existence.
어떻게 대라브리기 동백원에 배치해야 되지? 다 말매 가마라브리 말매 되게 나와 땡죠 배치하다 두스리. 다들 간데스는 말매 도시는 아주 담보 먼저 말매 샤사기 쇼콘디나라 고 당번에 고 말매랑 신기 좁인도 와.
Yes.
신고 마라고는 좁이어 말아. 디나라베 동세 단다 동레세 디고 티베트 그 소제 디로 디가라 말로 두스네 아니 매 파르투스네 파라치네 고 마메스네 파 루세보 통요야 두스 응어바타 두스 나홍 사바샤와
Yes.
어때 나신체게 취되게 돼 라신게 되올라베 라원에 마도 라신게 마도나야 고 유게 나솔라 때네 고 두스파 유게 나솔라 때네 고 두스 루테야지 용고하래서 그러와 유게 나솔 때네 중들 따대 가서 가서 개체부터 뭐 보시면 봐 그때는 중요해 미균 생기 고 아주 유게 나솔다 셀라 때네 최셀라 때네 고 배지 무슨 페네예베 무슨 페네예베다 다니 배셔만 먹을 또 거러와로 저는 와다데 스토리에 베네레서.
So in this way, the mirage or visual aberration represents emptiness. And then the third is a lamp or a butter lamp that represents appearance, the dependent arising of things. And so first, if we think of the metal base of the butter lamp, the butter lamp is not existing in it, kind of there from the beginning. You have the base, and then you roll the wick, you make it out of cotton and put it in the base, and then you pour butter in, and then you light it, and then through that, then the butter lamp is able to illuminate darkness, illuminate objects. And in the same way, phenomena, while they lack inherent existence, lack existence from their own side, they arise through various causes and conditions and are then established. They're established through arising from various causes and conditions. And yesterday we talked about this a lot, of how things arise in dependence on others, that they arise depending on causes and conditions, depending on other phenomena, and then having arisen are able to accomplish benefit, are able to give rise to the conventional consciousness.
So things are, all things and events are not inherently existent, but still many causes and conditions, it will
Arise.
Become exist and functioning. Things are functioning. Yeah.
Yes.
You did that?
No, take it on there.
Okay, yeah. So that is the same as the butter lamp. But at the beginning, that is the only the container. There's no, and then you put the middle of that
Wick.
Okay, I don't know how the cotton, and then put the butter, and then fire it, and then it will result the light and everything. Same as. Is that clear? Yeah. There's a butter lamp represent appearance of dependent arising, but same meaning is lack of inherent existence. Yeah. And that did be somebody so be somebody there was you make it in my way. Come out of the mamma. The Panjipati there. Pinjipati Tanya, Ronya gets in Kumaderwa. Kumatiri, Takumati. Takuma Kingi Gumata. You should do to ship and a do chunjun to chunjun to what they and dashing it today and that, and they let any Kongata which came to ship the Walata, the Tata language said to what I am and a Pomela so but today can't you want you to ship the Walla? I mean, legging. Oh, Silla is gone.
Oh, she has.
I don't know.
Well, she's gone. I'll show you a battle lamp. Hopefully you can see it.
Hello, Celia? No, Celia gone.
Oh, she should be able to drop back in.
Huh?
No, here's the wicks, and then I was going to make one this morning from some, but she should just pop back in. I'll give her a call on the Facebook, but she should be able to get back on because it's her. She set up the meeting, so she should be able to.
Oh, otherwise I will try myself.
Yeah. All of these things are not a lamp.
That is precious.
Yeah. Hi, Sarah, you've dropped out of the call. We just Geshe will carry on in English.
I can try. But you give me mark.
Oh, you need to see Felicity, but I'm trying to get myself there. There you go.
So there.
So Felicity's there, but we've still got Carolyn listening and Felicity.
Okay.
So they would like to listen.
So second example or illustration is magician. Magician?
Mm-hmm.
You know. What was the word?
Magicians are right.
Huh?
Is that a person who makes magic?
Huh?
Yeah.
A person who produces magic?
Yeah.
Magician?
Magic. I think magic. My man. Yeah. Illusion.
Yeah.
Illusions.
Illusion.
Yeah.
Illusion.
Yeah, magician makes illusion. Illusion is
Yeah, illusion. So, I want to still come back.
I bet.
So, but the Ronya gets in, Ronya gets in. The Ronya gets in the Guma Kengi, Guma Tulita, to ship and a dew chunchun to the Shing that in the Guma Tuni, that the language it up, made that in the electricity. That the Temutagan to look at me like knock out of Yamachi or Siva,
Umbrella.
which are like night or that the second enemy. So that thing I think me lebetimo they get that one language that was a tar so what I am made what the direction a pen that language to the nation I gave
Yes.
made what the day in a young made them at the tune. Chapakialas what the Usukoran so on you there to Yungoyarba.
Yes.
United Tungopola, Page could twist your mother to what I wanted to get it. Ramon and Rashik to your Marwa.
Yes.
What that did to Sungo that did.
Yes. Okay, so this example of illusions is for experiential taste. And so the illusion is created by the magician. And so in the previous times in India, on the basis of like a small stone or wood, the magician would use mantra to cause illusions to appear like tiger or elephants or attractive objects, beautiful women. And then the audience, under the influence of the mantra, would, in terms of like the fearful object, like an elephant or a tiger, would experience fear, or towards the attractive objects or beautiful women would experience attachment, and so they would that actual emotion, they would experience the feeling of that actual emotion, but in fact it is a hallucination. It is not inherently existent, but there is that experience of attachment and aversion, and so this is how it illustrates
Yeah, oh yeah.
the experience.
Tateri chudike de ko ranshinki matubne ko telatene ko sobape de do nyonde chitu yungor ba tati pedos. Te chumagi tine tuche rwatene ta pe sumbate ta nyemegi tsinyi ba yorwa nyemegi.
Yes.
Ta nyemegi tsinyi tele nyore mitape samsul nangsula tene ko nyeme chunta cheta pe dungal betsuki ane nyeme samsuchi nye to siyore study tambo metabe tsuki tini sibagi pechara dunga betsuki te chuburgi pechara otusir.
Yes. Okay, so and that's enough covering the illusions that produce, even though they are lacking inherent existence, they produce the feelings of pleasure and pain or unpleasantness. And then we come to the third aspect, which is drawbacks. So drawbacks have two parts: the way of reflecting on how impermanence appears to us, and reflecting on the nature of suffering. So the impermanence is represented by dew, drops of dew, and the nature of suffering by bubble or water bubble.
Teneta sibagi pe te ta metabe tsu pe understand course na sibati pe shogeng abo sibati ko ta pe shingdong ko lama do tenden ko sibati group samnyine ko power samye ko pe ye do ya ko chik pe shik do ya chikran shi chire de ba ta na shin ki duje ge chu gyuda kyan la tele chu duje ge chu khande ta uchina ko rang group samnyine ko chinjung ge gyu shen la ma chinjung ge gyu shen la tene ta jikparan shi chik chire de ba
Yes.
de miten beran shi tene ge na su ta meta be na su so tende chire ota chetus te ta te khar su gor sana ko chute ta te meta be ko ran shi ge ma do ba chi su gor ba ko diwa do de su ran shi ge ma do ta shen la ten ko cha gor ba
Yes. Okay, so that impermanence being represented by the dew, that how it shows this is that dew appears in the early morning on the fields and so forth, and almost as being established, and then with the sunlight, when the minute light falls on it, it dries up and disappears. And in the same way, composite phenomena or conditioned phenomena arising on the basis of causes and conditions, that being merely established, then through other conditions they are already perishing and not abiding. So that phenomena being impermanent, their impermanence shows that they are not inherently existent and they are continually changing.
it is a
Yes.
to se tireta churte ta duga be su ge kande se ni me kande shi warsana churte pe ko ye ba ye da ko ke ba ye na da kande sana ko chu ran shi re de ba
Yes.
chu ran shi ma do ko tele los ke kure yo marwa ta na shin ge ngazo dungal tele ta nam yo ngazo 나중에는 동안 숨 계시시와 동아기 동아 그 동아 잡아도 제 동아 동아기 동아 세대고 지단하고 아주 맞아 돈도 연체게 하고 대하겠고 동아 그라시 규서 제점에는 동아 계란시 지레 동아를 되어와
Yes.
기회 동안에 거야 당보다 대화다 어째 설교할 때 바라칠라 거 교내고 그 동아에 뭐 교도로 왔다 내가 사제게 소한테 받는 경우도 지대라 나한테 얘기 대화다 지그와
Yes.
어떤 배 칼라산에 그 대화 디스 중에도 보다 가끔내 주도는 배 대화 용어다 된 소리 다 듣고 그 누가 추를 치는 대화를 소발에 맞도 지게 신고는 무슨 양답에 대화 말이 세다는 경우들이 시켜고 뒤래 근데 다 잡아도 제게 동화 세대 그런 것들 리디 줍삼이네 레다니 뭐 왕게 그 남이 봉부터 줍삼이네 그 동아리 계획이 시치고 그래서 왔고다 다 동아리 다 맞대 버렸어요 다 데려와
Yes.
동아 계획이 시 동아도 기회 동아 겨우도 계획 시치고 다 이제 소화단님들도 사제게 소화단님 딱 아주 지된 소화단님들도 여러 번 달래다니고 어떤 되게 어떤 수다 간제다 동아게 하시면도 요 말세 다 돈다 되죠.
Yes. Okay. So then the next bubble of water represents the drawbacks of the nature of suffering. And so a bubble of water, whether it is arising or dispersing, it is in nature of water. It is nothing else. And so similarly, if we consider the three types of suffering, painful suffering, changeable suffering, or pervasive conditional suffering. So in general, painful suffering is recognized even by animals, that the minute it arises, it is recognized as being suffering. And changeable suffering is that is first experienced as a pleasant feeling, but that will then change, and thus it is into a suffering feeling, and thus these are our contaminated happiness. So that we would consider happiness in ordinary life. So, for example, when one's hungry, one eats food and a pleasant feeling arises. If one's thirsty, one drinks water and a pleasant feeling arises. But in fact, it is the experience of suffering that decreases and a pleasant feeling arises, but it is not an ultimate happiness. And then we have all pervasive conditional suffering. And that when our body is the mere establishment of our body under the control of karma and afflictive emotion, so that appropriated aggregates through karma and afflictive emotion acts as a basis for further suffering to arise. So that in terms of our aggregates, it's said that it is a contaminated feeling, but it is neutral. But being established under the power of karma and afflictive emotion, then the other sufferings arise. So it is in the nature of suffering. And so seeing that these things are the nature of suffering, one sees their drawbacks.
어떻게 드네 배 시바디 다 데려와 예발 좀 했으니까 예발 좀 했으니 그래
Yes.
다들라야 다들 돈다들 스케치해지래 되어 왔다
Yes.
or 라신이 말도 또 예선 단다 다스도 이시는 라신이 말도 왜 토마티 대시게 개체시래 되어 다들라 배숨 기관에 와 배숨 대시게 거래 배숨대 밀람 로티 숨기와
Yes.
밀람체 로티 숨기래 밀람 로티 숨기 밀람기 대병오 볼라 배차래
Yes.
로기 아니 다타병오 볼라 배차래 팅기 마음병오 볼라 배차네 두스레스와
Yes.
라시메즈 다지 두스레 다데 밀람기 배데 칸데스레스나 먼저 밀람 다 근데 연구라 남준에 먼저 미든데 밀람 빼빼 밀람 뜬데 밀람 나라 빼 제도와 잡아게 또 근데 세 밀람 땅 근데 다 이세네 걸어야 돼 밀람 따이때 tene ta mi lumbula ya yang yo pe mi se sana ko pe chaba kya yung ko res ngo ta de nam je chidane mi tingo nam je ngo zo de be ngo bo de tene yang ko te so de do pe ta nyum tene yu do har ba
Yes.
ta de nam je se wo yung ko ba
Yes.
de be ngo bo de ko ka sa ra yo ma ko ngo ni ki do ra shi do yo ma ba ina ko de bu ke do wa
Yes.
제부 징계도 어다데 대병어 보라 밀람타 순에다 빼도 세와래.
So then we come to the fourth example, which is how it represents the wish to be free of renunciation. And this is understanding the emptiness of it, an important point into and understand the emptiness of inherent existence. So again, the three examples, the dream, lightning, and clouds. So dream represents things of the past, lightning represent things of the present, and clouds represent things of the future. And so how the dream represents the nature of things is that in a dream, one may things appear to us and what may generate attachment, and then you'll wake from that dream. And recalling the dream, a foolish person, although awake, still feels attached to those things, to what appeared in the dream. And like this, things of the past, we have pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral feelings about them. But those things have already ceased. They are not inherently existent. They did not exist from their own side. But even so, they still give rise to these results of the kind of feelings by thinking of them.
어때 다 대배 저랑 신기 맞네 그때 대부 징계요 봐.
Loss.
어때
So things of the past lack inherent existence, but they still link to results.
어때 디레 따티 드네다 로세 데다 다타베 공포라 칸데셔스나 로데나 언도 차바다 이케브치베 야르카베 로 큐섬니네 로데 담보 칸데 용송 바드네 바르도 칸데네서 아마 칸데스 예송스나 또 제바 좀 있고 제바 제롱세로 거예 도와지 있으나 거 자두도 어떤 때는 시에다 추디게 되고 받은 세나 많이 해야고 그 추대다 때라 다니때 자시할 때 다시 때다 때라 다니 자시면 그때 뭐 마데 가르스나 또 그는 이해해 받고 그런 식의 막 다도 용돼야지 그래서
Okay, so then lightning representing things of the present. So at a time of rain, you get this kind of brief flash of lightning that in trying to analyze where it came from, where it is, and where it has gone to, it has just arisen and disappeared. And on searching for it, it is not found, even though there was that relative assertion, there was a basis that was labeled, but it is not findable. And so it shows, this is the sign that shows that present things of the present are not inherently existent.
어때 다디 때 내가 개체지 가려서는 남겨가지고 마세데 수수 남겨가지고 동알게기 사와도데 티모 마리 파치고 그래서 다 티모 마리 파테네 레사네 텔라테네 안에 다 동알 마부게 그래서 티모 마리 파테서 난진세 나진별로 데레서 봐 마디 수수데 수고여서데 가와도 때 사제치나 다지는 많이 봐 다든지는 많이 봐 연구해서 다든지 다들 간주 단다 주든 제만에 개점만 보인 거 봐. 어다도 되는 같이 지금 요래도 그래서 예. 그 돈이 또 단지 개제시해 주고 봐.
Yes. So that so the important point in relationship to this is understanding that at the root of suffering is obscured ignorance, and through obscured ignorance we create karmic actions, and from that many sufferings arise. And that obscured ignorance is also our grasping itself. But if we search for that self, where it is not findable. And so we will cover this in the later session, and it is And that searching for that self, the self that we grasp at is also an aspect of emptiness.
어두 시트네다 마음배 오보데다 라싱기 집에 동바에 맞다 베카라스 거스나다 디레단데 팅기르와
Yes.
팅기레다 마음배 오보다 디카르스나 때 컨테스트 거스나 페나 남카 동산지라 호 당분에 코 차와기암네 디게 제보 배 로돌라 소바트 게네 베 디보메네 다시 메토다도 신다도 콘텐츠 돈돌라 소바트 게게 당분에 누바요 말바
Yes.
당분에 코 트랜시기트 남카 동산지레 되어 파라질라코 진도고시 수다 딜라 소바타 게나 소시신 사탄라 소바텐데 탭체네 안에 자바바올라 테네다 다시가 로돌라 소바게라다 메토시신 소바트 게도스 베테 망보치 용대 얼바
Yes.
어때 나신 제기 나란족의 셈라 신게 집에 동바래 되어
Yes.
셈라 신게 집에 동바에 나야 내가 딱 건데 단질로 소바트 다 유모트 디모 단질로 소바트 게네 차당로 소바트 게네 아니 베다 레게데 나조사 티글레 그는 안티티게 디부티도 라스반 코바나라 데도 나솔로 소바트 오토스 뉴데지 응고요레소 다 스타트
So that then clouds representing things of the future and their lack of inherent existence. So how it represents this is that one has a clear sky, a clear empty sky, then it doesn't have the capacity to produce the rain that would ripen the crops and the flowers and the fruits of the trees and so forth. But if you have the clear empty sky and then through various conditions such as heat and so forth, clouds appear, then at a certain point rain will fall, and that falls on the fields and ripens the crops that cause them to grow and so forth. So similarly with our mind, our mind is empty of inherent existence, but under the power of obscuration, we grasp itself. From that grasping itself, reflective emotions such as attachment, aversion, and so forth arise. We accumulate the various virtuous and non-virtuous karmas, and the various happinesses and sufferings are experienced within cyclic existence.
어떤 스타투스 중대 두스레스 워타데 단다 디치나라 카마라레마도 기마스베시멜라 뒤지처럼 디타르타세도아
Thus,
뒤지처럼 디타르사타 뒤지게 추여두겠다 란신넬로타 텐데시로에시다 카마라베라서 마메타 텐데레스 워타데 가란소 남기다 아도티네 수데 베스네 수데 야바하마 코아체 안에 취되게 되라 토마메바네 곤베왕기 데마토바타 라모네 토바타 라시게 투투타 투스파나 나와나시 하네 템바르시 안에 때가때는 차단라 소파게 때다 때때라 되게 동안 망보소 나서다 동안 나서 먹었으니까 또 코코데라 시다 다 두스레스다 다 돈이게 내수대 약보지 셰바이나 다 단지 매바잖아요 코발레트네 다 되치다 돈이 되시게데 산지게다 출소에 소디 샘제 거의 샘제 코발레트 베치더라 동알레트 베치더 다데 돈이디 다 산지게 출소면에 다 내가 최시지 그 레과이데 오다 독세와
and so, and kind of these are things, how things arise. So this verse and the last line, look at all conditioned phenomena as such. So that understanding that the nature of conditioned phenomena is like all these examples. In general, we don't understand well the nature of phenomena, and under the power of familiarity, things appear to us as truly existent, inherently existent from their own side, and then we grasp at them in the way that they appear to us, and then we generate attachment and aversion, and the various sufferings arise, and we cycle within cyclic existence. But if we understand the nature of emptiness, then we are able to abandon grasping itself and attain liberation from cyclic existence. And of all the teachings the Buddha gave, this is the most important point, is that of emptiness, because the Buddha taught in order to free beings from suffering, to free them from cyclic existence.
What to say that the to say that the namju nganzo chue dige de na yu du gala demba tu ta rangone tu ta rashing tu bana shin na wana shi she ni ta nyu da mo so ba
Loss.
ta de la namju to ni la khom de chena ta to ni to su na ta na wa yung gor de oni to ban to ni to ne tan da e dia shita gi khom de shu chi bo ma de be khap to de la to ni na yung gor de chue dige de na yung gor de demba tu bala su ba rangone tu ta na yung gor de ko shenba de yung go ma re wa
Loss.
shenba ma te ka ta tel tene chatang lo su bo ma ki ne ta le sa ba ma sa ne tu sine le sa ba ma sa yung go re ane ta na shin ji te wang ke nga ba le sa sha kyo ta la yang lo nu ba se ta me nu ba chi bo su to yo ma re o tu sine ta in ji ke ta ma so na control che tu go ro wa
Control. Loss.
che tu go ro tu che tu go ba Ota tu sire go re ta ngara so ta da to ni khomde to ni la to ni ke ne su de ha ma ko chen ke ne lu thai tu ke ne su de ha ma ko chi tu ga la ko chi te mu che na wa na te ba tu ta na ra shi tu na wa na shi she an te nyo ta mo ba to tu se de ba ko te pa pe kan sa tu la na wa yo te to ni to cha ge to ni mu sum to cha ge pa pe kan sa tu la na wa yo la shen ba yo ma re se de ra
Okay, so that like this phenomena appear to us as truly existing from their own side, as inherent in existence, and then we grasp at them as in the way that they appear, and this gives rise to many problems. But if we familiarize ourselves with emptiness, and as one familiarizes oneself, even though the appearances will arise, one does not grasp at them. The grasping does not arise, and therefore the attachment and aversion does not arise. One doesn't accumulate new karma, and previously accumulated karma is not potentialized or ripened. And so we could say in English that we can control things because there is not the grasping. Whereas when we don't understand emptiness, that do not understand the ultimate nature of phenomena, and we grasp at the phenomena as they appear to us as truly existent, inherently existent, existing from its own side, and that gives rise to many problems. And so for the Arya, who has a direct perception of emptiness, there it is said there is the appearance but no grasping.
tu sire ta ngara so la pe chadan shu chimbu ke de la pe na met so la chi kyun je chi gen ta ta so la chi no pa chi de pe control la ya chi pe ken shu chimbu chi do ta de sam tang go ya cha de wa
Yes.
o
And
so
so,
mi de pe me se ta ko mal no pa che ta de ke correct na ta ko temba tu ta na yung go wa khorang chi ke she la ma te ba khora rang ke ta khora chi ko ke ta rang ke ko ane ngal no pa che son sama ta control la ba ta tu ta na te ba tu be na wa lo de shu chi bo yu la ra wa no tu ba lo te na wa na shi me sam ne pe ta Jumatabu Milam Tabu Tape Mabushayo, Batachidan, Tanda Pe Digi the Chipamari Pe Mambuya, Pechuni, sure.
So,
In an alata, Milam Jumatabu to see some nationality, Southern Shurton tonight. Taco capture go out those around.
okay. So that for us, when we're in a situation of strong aversion or attachment arising, for example, if there's someone who is criticizing us or harming us, that and we get very angry with them, at that time it seems that it is that person who is harming us is truly existent, that there are no other conditions just that exist. There is just that one person. And so there's a very strong grasping at that person as being truly existent. So if at that time we can remember these examples, such as being illusion-like or dream-like, and not just these are examples, there are 12 examples that are used to illustrate this. So in the end, if we can recall them to mind, then we have this opportunity to apply these when strong attachment or aversion, anger arises.
Tandati Karsa Pe Thomas Sumti Treshi Capital that Devatunala to Sungare. Namjungaransola, Semla Kame Teduala, Sem Kame de Churtaila, Sem Chongchela, Sem Chongchela, Mitaba Sambecone, Sem Chongche,
Yes.
and a Koetunga Coin is Susinata, Tinimatu Yomarisam Lipe. Chidara Coin is within the Cherry Samlet, Sem Chongche, Coetunga Sambecone, Sem Chantanchi, or Tigala. Should they get a ranching to Maramuna to your Marisam Negone, should the Chansuchi sum your Hesera.
Yes.
Looking on it, Yakshete, Chode, and a ranching to be Tomba. Some little teacher, Yakshure say, or that the kind of ranching to be Tomba and Tony in the Hakone, ranching to be Sambatana, could Dongali get Sawa Kotimu, Desi Korapant or a pant of Gorma. That's the Kumulugi Chancho Simtenamla. Meta Donga Tombashi Chawasumgi Sim Chonches. Cho to Simni Chonjebe, Chunerashi Meba is or to Zero. Chon is the Yakshut Sora.
Yes. Okay. So in general, this is not to say that it's easy. One must rely on familiarity. That in terms of those last three examples in the commentary, it says, when we meet with circumstances that we find difficult, then in terms of decreasing the kind of our internal difficulties that we experience, there are three ways of training the mind. One is reflecting on impermanence. Second is thinking of the nature of suffering, nature of cyclic existence, seeing that these problems reflect the very nature of cyclic existence. And then the third is training the mind in emptiness and the lack of inherent existence and the lack of existence from its own side. And of these three, the third is the best to reflect on the emptiness of inherent existence. Because when we reflect on the emptiness of inherent existence, then we are kind of attacking the very root of suffering, the grasping at true existence. And then Geshe quoted from Nagarjuna's commentary on Bodhicitta, referring to these three ways of training the mind, and at the supreme or best of these are training the mind in emptiness. Yes. So at the same time, we think that this is something that we must practice over a long time, that's not an easy thing to do.
I think the explanation is I will stop here, but we will discuss if you have any question or, and then we will, so it will make little bit become clear. Okay. Yeah. I think, yeah.
Okay, so
Yes, do this. If you have not something clear, just if you have, then we will just talk.
Geshe, thank you for this morning. I've